Good evening, I'm Adrian Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, Ontario locks down and tries to buy some time.
Mobile teams are being organized to administer vaccines in high-risk congregate settings.
The new plan to target hot zones and vaccinate younger people.
The variant explosion in Canada.
If it continues at the rate it is, then I think we're going to have a tough summer.
Why the situation is unusually bad here.
The profound mental health effects of a COVID infection.
I feel like both my brain and my body have aged 10 years.
How people are coping and the help they need.
Plus, we may need to talk about moms and wine.
I could joke openly about having wine at play dates or, bring the sippy cup of wine to the playground.
A concerning growth in alcohol consumption among women and the damage it's causing. This is The National. Canada's largest province is locking down again, this time even harder.
Ontario is in a state of emergency tonight, with a province-wide stay-at-home order coming into effect just after midnight. Katie Nicholson walks us through the new restrictions and why some say they're coming far too late.
Some light pants for biking.
Last-minute purchases under the wire. Malls here just reopened last month, but even some shoppers agree.
They should not have opened, they should have waited.
Tonight, they close again for at least 4 weeks as a new emergency province-wide stay-at-home order takes effect.
Things are extremely serious right now.
Only grocery, drugstores, and garden centers can remain open. Big boxes are limited to selling groceries, cleaning, and pharmacy products. Ontarians are expected to stay home and limit contact with each other as the daily COVID count punches repeatedly above 3,000. This is the order so many experts wanted for so long.
There should have been action 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. So the fact that it's delayed this far is, in my mind, not only is it unnecessary, but it has resulted in illness and deaths that are unnecessary.
But the province is signaling it is listening. Today, a major pivot in its vaccination strategy.
Mobile teams are being organized to administer vaccines in high-risk congregate settings.
Those teams will head into hotspots and vaccinate anyone 18 and up. They'll also hit big factories and warehouses, the source of so many outbreaks. Teachers in 2 of the province's worst-hit areas also eligible for shots next week. This teacher relieved but skeptical.
I have limited faith in our government's ability to roll out the plan until I see it.
Back at the mall, frustration with the stops and starts and the constantly changing messaging.
A lot of us are willing to abide by rules, but when the rules start to not make sense and have any logic, then that's hard to follow.
So, Katie, Ontario has been through this before. What's different with this stay-at-home order?
Well, let's just look at schools. Last time round, it was the Chief Medical Officer of Health who had called for schools and hot zones to shift to online learning. This time around, province isn't doing that. They have shifted the burden of making those decisions to the public health units. And as we've already seen, 3 of them have pulled the trigger and moved kids to online learning.
And Katie, can we talk about what more we heard about the province's vaccination strategy?
Yeah, we heard some very robust promises today. The Premier talking about getting 40% of adults their first shot by the end of this 4 weeks. To do that, they're talking about pop-up clinics. Again, those mobilization groups going into the hot spots. And it's really hard to underestimate how big a game changer it is, allowing people 18 and up in those hot spots to now get the vaccine. So we'll be watching how all of this, the logistics, rolls out.
Okay, Katie, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Isaac Bogosh, also want to bring you into this conversation as a member of Ontario's Vaccine Distribution Task Force. Can you walk me through the rationale of giving the vaccine essentially to any adult who wants one in these particular hotspot neighborhoods versus, I don't know, focusing more narrowly on essential workers, frontline workers?
Yeah, certainly essential workers are a major component. They need to be protected. But if we just focus on essential workers, while you're protecting, obviously, a very important piece, it's a much there's a much bigger puzzle there that needs to be addressed. And of course, there's other people and other chains of transmission in those high burden areas that are at risk, and sadly, they can get impacted by this and land in hospital. So by really focusing on these high burden neighborhoods, I think we can do a lot of good at an individual level, but also at a population level as well.
While I have you here, can I also ask you about the Ontario shutdown? Because I'm struck by the fact that businesses are still operating, right? So we're told to stay at home, except for everyone who still has to go into work. So how much mileage do we get out of that?
In all fairness, we'll probably see cases go down, but they probably won't go down as much as we'd like and as fast as we'd like. Certainly in non-hotspot areas, they'll probably go down. But as you point out, there are lots of people that are still going to have to go into work because they are essential workers. And we don't really have policy to protect them at work. We're going to policy our way out of this third wave. We're not going to vaccinate our way out of this third wave. And I didn't see a ton of supports for essential workers there. So I think there will be some benefit, but not as much as we'd like.
Dr. Bogosh, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Quebec is also opening up vaccine eligibility, telling some essential workers and people with chronic illnesses they're next. Alison Northcott tells us who is getting the shot.
As Quebec faces its third wave, it's moving to the next phase of its vaccine rollout.
As we did at the beginning, we are going to the high risk to a lower risk.
Now that many Montrealers 60 and older have had their first shot, the province is offering vaccines there to the next priority groups. Starting next week, people with chronic illnesses, including cancer and dialysis patients, can get their vaccines administered by their doctor at the hospital.
The cancer patients have been very afraid, and we know that that's caused a lot of other problems for them as well. So I think this represents some kind of relief from anxiety.
Essential workers like teachers, daycare workers, police officers, firefighters, and community workers will also be eligible.
I'm on quarantine right now because there was a case in my class.
This daycare worker is relieved she qualifies, but would like to see access extended to daycare workers outside Montreal.
I'm happy to be able to protect the people I care about, but I'm also pretty upset that they're not considering a demographic that they pick and choose whether or not they're included.
The plan also doesn't include grocery store workers.
It's a disappointment because since we're offering an essential service, I think we should be considered essential workers as well.
The health minister says the province is prioritizing those most at risk and in settings where outbreaks have been hard to control.
It's not to exclude them, but we have to make a choice in face the number of vaccines that we have.
Outside of Montreal, the focus now is on people 60 and up. Once they're covered, the province says it can add more people to the list. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Ontario is also expanding the priority list for vaccinations to include some teachers. Deanna Sumnak-Johnson has more on what teachers want and what they can expect.
Ontario teachers will continue risking COVID-19 in the classroom, but at least now some will have protection.
Starting in Toronto and Peel, for all education staff, focused in on those high priority areas for staff that live or that work within those communities will now have access to the vaccine starting April break.
Quebec is following a similar strategy. Montreal teachers can register for a shot starting Friday.
I'm ecstatic to hear that the teachers are finally being considered as essential workers. You know, that should have been the case a while ago.
What awaits them on the other side is cautious optimism. In British Columbia, this teacher got vaccinated about 2 weeks ago because her public health unit put teachers on the priority list.
I remember lining up for the shot, on that Sunday, and all of us, smiling ear to ear behind our masks, of course, and very much relief, not complete. We understand we can still transmit, we can still carry. It's not this foolproof solution.
In Ontario, teacher unions would like to see the vaccines available to all the teachers working in regions with high case counts, not only those in select neighborhoods.
Schools should be closed to in-person learning until educators have all been vaccinated and until there's been a period of time for the vaccine to take effect, which is about 3 weeks.
No promise of that, but today the Ontario Minister of Education said that following Toronto and Peel, vaccines will be rolled out to teachers in other hotspot cities like Ottawa and Hamilton. Again, only those working in the most affected neighborhoods. Teachers working with special needs children can also get their shot. Deanna Sumnak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, after more research, Canada's National Advisory Committee on Immunization is standing by its recommendation to space out first and second vaccine doses by up to 4 months. But it expects that won't be necessary as vaccine shipments ramp up.
Our estimate is that eventually we will be able to go, close to 2.5 or 2 months interval between doses, but that really will depend on how many doses come in.
By prioritizing first shots, NACI expects 90% of people over 50 and 75% of people 16 to 49 will have access to a first dose by the middle of June. The European Medicines Agency says it has found a possible link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and rare blood clots, but it's not adding new restrictions to who can get it. British regulators, however, are now recommending it not be given to adults under 30. Canada currently uses it for those between 55 and 65 years of age.
25 people have now tested positive for COVID-19 in the Vancouver Canucks organization. It is the biggest reported outbreak in the NHL this season, and the team now says a coronavirus variant is responsible. Susanna Da Silva with what we know so far and the questions surrounding the team's uncertain season.
Another day, another positive test for the Vancouver Canucks. 1 week after the outbreak began, only 4 players on their active roster haven't caught COVID.
These guys are professional athletes, and this has knocked them on their asses.
Former Canuck goalie and current color commentator Corey Hirsch says he has spoken to some of the players.
I don't think anybody really thought it was going to be quite this bad. I know there's some players that they're struggling, like they're hurting.
The total is now 21 players, including 3 from the taxi squad and 4 staff members. The team today confirming the cases involve a variant, though further testing is needed to determine which one, and that one person caught it in the community, despite league recommendations against going to public locations and daily testing.
Being a 20-year-old elite hockey player probably puts you in a category where your recovery is going to be reasonable, but there are the odd healthy person that has a very, very, aggressive response to these viruses.
The NHL says it is committed to playing out the rest of the season, even though the Canucks were unlikely to make the playoffs.
As time marches on, you wonder if those games need to be played, but there is a competitive balance to all of this, and the league does need to figure out standings.
In its statement, the team says their situation is a stark reminder of how quickly the virus can spread and its serious impact even among healthy young athletes. Team owner Francesco Aquilini echoed that on Twitter, saying if the COVID variant can knock down a whole team of healthy young athletes, everyone is high risk. Please read and follow the province-wide restrictions.
How do you turn it into something good, something positive, right? And maybe this will be the public that needs to see, like, hey, this is real.
As for when and which Canucks will take to the ice, that is still unclear. Susanna Da Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Turning to Alberta, where health officials have physically closed off an Edmonton area church that refuses to comply with COVID-19 restrictions.
Size of 10 outdoors? That is true.
So Grace Life Church is now totally surrounded by metal fences. Alberta Health Services says it has tried to work with Grace Life throughout the pandemic, only to meet defiance at every turn. Its pastor even spent a month in jail for disobeying health orders. Alberta churches can open at 15% capacity, but officials say Grace Life has allowed in hundreds of people at a time, far exceeding capacity limits. And it appears a member of the gym tied to a major COVID-19 outbreak in Quebec City has died from the virus. It's not yet clear if the 40-year-old client caught the virus at the facility, but those close to him say he died after being hospitalized. So far, 419 cases have been linked to Mega Fitness, with more than 35 other outbreaks traced back to that gym.
Now, Canada isn't dealing with just a single coronavirus. It is dealing with several. Canada's Chief Public Health Officer believes variants are starting to overtake the original virus, and Christine Burak shows us that has turned this country into a dangerous petri dish, unlike any other.
Without a doubt, this is the third wave doctors were warning about.
With more contagious variants driving epidemic growth in many areas of Canada, we know this virus is not going out with a whimper.
Experts say Canada is one of the few countries with major variants rapidly spreading at the same time. While the U.S. doesn't screen as much, it has a much larger population. Still, Canada is tracking similar case numbers of the B117 variant first identified in the UK and the one in South Africa. This country's also found nearly 3 times the number of P1 cases first seen in Brazil.
If it continues at the rate it is, then I think we're going to have a tough summer.
Doctors in intensive care units say the original coronavirus, known as the wild type, is disappearing. They're now dealing with a whole new pandemic.
We now have to isolate our patients until we know whether or not they are wild type, B117, or the P1 variant, because mixing them can cause reinfections and secondary contamination and outbreaks in our hospitals.
While the more contagious B117 variant is now surging in most provinces, BC, Alberta, and Ontario are also confronting the P1 variant. Not only has it led to reinfections in Brazil, but research suggests there's been a sudden rise in COVID-19 case fatality among young and middle-aged adults in southern Brazil after the P1 variant was identified. This study isn't peer-reviewed yet, and while the death rate remains low, researchers say for patients aged 20 to 29, fatality rates tripled and similarly doubled for middle-aged adults.
I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that we will get everybody vaccinated before we see the combinations of mutations.
There's no evidence so far suggesting any of these variants can fully get around current vaccines, but doctors insist provinces need more severe lockdowns like the ones we saw last year in order to get this surge under control. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
Only once has a Canadian judge ever been convicted of murder. Jacques Delisle sentenced to life in 2012 for murdering his wife, but it turns out history wasn't finished with this case. The federal justice minister now believes there was a miscarriage of justice and has ordered a new trial. And Mark Kelly, who investigated the case with the Fifth Estate and Enquête, shows us why.
Jacques Delisle went from prominent Quebec judge to being judged by a jury and convicted of murdering his wife, Nicole Rainville. Sentenced to life in prison, he wouldn't have been eligible for parole until he was 102. In a rare prison interview in 2015 with the Fifth Estate, he maintained his innocence.
There are innocent persons in prisons. You have one in front of you.
With the support of a champion of the wrongly convicted, Delisle now has one last chance to prove it.
They've taken 9 years out of this man's life. There's a terrible miscarriage of justice, and I want him to live his remaining days without this hanging over his head.
Delisle insisted his wife shot herself after suffering a paralyzing stroke and struggling with depression. But the Crown argued Delisle pulled the trigger so he could spend his life with his longtime mistress. A joint Fifth Estate Radio-Canada investigation uncovered new expert ballistics analysis that supported Delisle's version of events based on the angle of the wound and the trajectory of the bullet. You have doubts.
Yes, I do. There's reasonable doubt here.
Delisle's daughter says her father's belief in the justice system never wavered. His spirit stayed strong. He always had hope, she says. He's a symbol of resilience. Lawyer James Lockyer says he'll ask the Quebec Superior Court to release Delisle on bail. He says he then hopes the Quebec Crown won't proceed with the new trial, putting an end to the former judge's legal odyssey. Mark Kelly, CBC News, Toronto.
RCMP in British Columbia say an investigation into an alleged police impersonator has revealed there was no impersonator. It was an actual police officer. We first told you about this strange story last month after RCMP received multiple reports of suspicious traffic stops with unmarked vehicles near Kelowna, BC. Police now say at least 4 of those stops were legitimate and performed by an actual officer. Officials, however, are still investigating one instance as a possible motorist impersonating an RCMP officer.
Well, according to police today, the February crash that left Tiger Woods with serious injuries wasn't a case of impaired driving. They say it all came down to speed, that Woods was driving up to 140 kilometers an hour, about double the limit. And vehicle data showed he never touched the brakes. Police did not check his blood for intoxicants at the time, given the severity of the crash.
There was no signs of impairment. Our primary concern, once we obviously at the scene of the collision, was his safety.
The crash left Woods with severe injuries to his leg and foot. It is unclear when or if he'll be able to compete again. Well, Georgia's new voting law continues to be met with opposition, including lawsuits, protests, even criticism from President Joe Biden. It was largely Donald Trump's false claims of voter fraud that have led to the new rules. But as Ellen Morrow tells us, the worry here is that it's black voters who suffer.
Why are you arresting her? Georgia lawmaker Park Cannon handcuffed after repeatedly knocking on the governor's door. Behind it, Brian Kemp signing the state's new voting law under a painting of a plantation. This moment now a symbol of a fierce fight.
This is all too familiar.
Cannon says the law targets voters of color.
When you look at this bill, you see the tears of African Americans. You see a community that has been steadfast in protecting their right to vote being taken away.
The law includes new, strict voter ID rules for absentee ballots. State officials may have more power over local elections, and there will be fewer ballot drop boxes than there were in 2020.
This is Jim Crow 2.0.
But what it definitely isn't is Jim Crow 2.0.
Republican official Gabriel Sterling garnered praise during the 2020 election for denouncing false claims of voter fraud pushed by Donald Trump.
It has all gone too far.
He says criticism of the new law is political, arguing voters won't be disenfranchised. But Sterling admits the new law was spurred by the same mistruths he denounced.
Isn't that fundamentally a problem if what they're responding to is a falsehood?
They believe this because a person they respect told them this was the truth. Even though we have evidence showing the other, you can't just dismiss it. You can't just say, well, you're being silly.
The law has been condemned by dozens of corporate giants and from the White House.
It's sick. It's sick.
Dozens of Republican-run states are planning similar legislation. Cannon says the fight is just beginning.
The right to vote is sacred and protected, and we will do everything to keep that just as it is.
Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Washington.
Grabbing a glass of wine amid lockdown restrictions has been the go-to for many Canadians.
So you can't drink the whole bottle. Why?
The messages that have pushed women to drink more with concerning outcomes.
When you talk to your patients and you bring out those statistics, what's the reaction you get?
It's shock, really.
Plus, we're learning more about the lasting effects of COVID. A new study sheds some light on how the virus affects the brain.
I feel myself like I'm an 87-year-old woman living a life with dementia.
And an odd classified ad is now a life-saving tool.
It was a Kijiji miracle.
A Nova Scotia pharmacist's ingenuity to get vaccines on the road. We're back in 2. Welcome back. While COVID cases continue to rise in parts of the country, they are trending in the opposite direction in Indigenous communities. Active infections on reserves have dropped more than 85% since January, from 5,000 to 635 as of yesterday.
You can't underplay or underestimate the work that the Indigenous leadership has done to deploy all the public health measures in communities. It's really amazing work.
The minister also credited the decline to an early vaccine rollout in those communities. 60% of adults in First Nation and Inuit communities have received their first dose.
Well, new findings tonight about how COVID affects the brain. They're from a study that suggests 1/3 of patients have lasting neurological or mental disorders, the most common being anxiety and depression. Have a listen to how some patients describe their experiences to our Briar Stewart.
It's been over a year since Kathy Novak woke up in the ICU because of COVID-19.
I shouldn't have been at high risk, and I got it.
We spoke with her last spring and again today about her ongoing recovery.
I feel like both my brain and my body have aged 10 years.
She has trouble focusing and suffers from depression, and it's an all too common experience. A new study published in The Lancet examined the medical records of 230,000 COVID patients, Researchers found that 6 months on, 1/3 had a neurological or psychiatric diagnosis, the most common, anxiety and depression.
Fortunately, the neurologic diagnoses like stroke, brain hemorrhage and dementia, again, were much rarer, but they were certainly commoner after COVID than they were after the other illnesses we compared it to.
Like the flu and other respiratory illnesses.
Scientists say it's not exactly clear why more COVID patients suffered from a stroke or dementia, but say it's likely due to the fact that the virus can infiltrate the brain and the body's immune response to it can affect blood clotting.
A more common complaint from those who've had COVID is that some develop a brain fog, which can last for months. That's Susie Golding's experience, which is why she's been seeing an occupational therapist.
I feel myself like I'm an 87-year-old woman living a life with dementia, trying to get through my day as best as I can with these terrible memory lapses that are happening.
Golding says the government needs to do more to help those suffering from the lingering effects of COVID, and medical experts say it will be a challenge to meet the demand.
We don't have that many neurologists in Canada. We don't have that many psychiatrists in Canada. We're going to need a team effort to do this.
Because as the number of cases grow, it means more Canadians with COVID will be in need of follow-up care. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Women have been bombarded with messages to pour a glass of wine for any occasion.
To us, and those who want to be us.
But amid the pandemic, the pours are getting bigger and so are the problems.
It's very easy to have an issue go unnoticed.
The unique concerns women are facing with alcohol. Next. This time of night, many people are finally unwinding from another stressful pandemic day, and more often, right now, that includes pouring a drink. But that habit can become a problem. Canada is currently revising its outdated guidelines on how much alcohol consumption is considered low risk. And as it does that, Ioana Remiliotis takes a look at one worrisome demographic, women, and the dangers many don't even know they face.
I liken running a lot to recovery. While you can have a great support system, I'm out there on my own. At the end of the day, it's me that has to do the work.
It has been a road, getting to nearly 3 years of sobriety. Ali Garber slid into addiction before she could climb out, before she could walk, let alone run.
That glass of wine turned into 3, it turned into 4. My 5 o'clock starting time started to creep earlier towards 4 p.m. And as this escalated, you know, I wasn't able to compartmentalize my problem very well anymore.
Garber battles anxiety. She also runs a communications business in Halifax and is a mother of 2.
There we go, so we're all set up.
Over the years, as her days got busier, drinking to take the edge off became routine. Now, she's recovering out loud to help women who, now more than ever, are taking a sober look at how much they're drinking and why.
I think what we've seen through the pandemic is a lot of people have been taking a look at their relationship with alcohol. It's amplified how we use alcohol as a form of self-medication, as a form of self-care. And that message is reinforced almost everywhere you go. You know, you've had a long day, pour yourself a glass of wine.
The last year has seen soaring alcohol sales and more binge drinking overall. A StatsCan survey found that in January, nearly 20% of Canadians had consumed the equivalent of a bottle of wine on the days they reported drinking. But women in every age group started drinking more well before the pandemic, catching up to men and in recent years outpacing them.
I think that women tend to drink as a coping mechanism.
Dr. Jennifer Wyman is an addiction specialist at Women's College Hospital in Toronto. The last year, she says, has been a tipping point, especially for some women trying to manage it all.
There continue to be pressures in terms of trying to keep it all together and juggle all of their roles. And there are lots of women who do appear to be getting up and looking after their kids and working and doing everything else and holding it together, but holding on to that secret that they're really sort of counting down until they can pour themselves a drink.
To us, and those who want to be us.
And that countdown is everywhere, from comedy skits to social media memes and female-focused marketing. It's all about pouring a well-deserved reward. Alcohol is framed as a way to bond with friends, relax after a day at work and at home, and as a symbol of power. For working mothers especially, it's also a toast to making it through yet another day. Garber says it was easy to rationalize her drinking. After all, she was just like so many other mothers out there.
I could joke openly about having wine at play dates or, bringing a sippy cup of wine to the playground. It is so prevalent in our culture that it's very easy to have an issue go unnoticed or to really even tell yourself that there is no problem.
But while many women are drinking, fewer seem to be aware how dangerous it is. The alcohol-related health risks alone are staggering, especially the risk of developing breast cancer. And the scary thing is, it doesn't take much.
Women who drink 2 or more drinks per day have a 50% increase in their risk of breast cancer. But even women who drink 3 to 6 drinks a week can see an increase in risk of about 15%.
When you talk to your patients and you bring out those statistics, what's the reaction you get?
Shock, really. I think people are stunned. I think they have no idea and don't recognize that what we might consider to be very modest amounts of alcohol are still really significant from a health perspective.
Okay, that's really good. So
as a life coach in Whitby, Ontario, Alexis McCalla teaches self-awareness.
Take the time to emotionally feel.
But she had no idea about the health risks until she started looking at her own drinking.
I went from drinking fairly rarely, so maybe once or twice a month, to in some weeks I was drinking 3 nights a week. Hold on tight.
McCalla started to examine why and realized she was drinking because she was scared. Scared that COVID could hurt the people she loved most.
Once I realized that I was using it as a behavior to numb out, I wanted to learn more about, okay, why were you doing that? What are the effects associated with it? How can you help motivate yourself so that this is no longer a part of your life?
McCalla quit drinking in November. It was a risky crutch, she says, and she resents the mass messaging that women need one.
You're trying to really leverage people's insecurities and emotions and challenges in order to sell a product. And now you're making an assumption that they can't handle their life, so they have to go out and drink. And now you're normalizing it.
McCalla is not the only one questioning her drinking. Across the country, a cultural reckoning of sorts.
Our Facebook group went from 2,000 people to 7,800 in the last year.
Dawn Nickel is based in Victoria, BC. She's the founder of She Recovers, an addictions recovery program that has seen more women reach out than ever before. Women who are drinking a little or a lot.
It's so non-threatening that people are coming in and they're just learning whether or not they even have a problem. So it's convenient. We just talk about, like, what are your goals? What's your intentions? Do you want to slow down? Do you want to stop? Like, you pick it and we'll support you to get there.
She Recovers is one of several programs tailored to women. And with so many now online, finding help is easier than ever.
Do you think the pandemic has had that kind of silver lining, if you will?
I think for sure. There's so much support for them now. We're having these conversations for the first time in society around what are we being influenced by and who says we have to have a bottle of wine every evening to unwind.
As for Garber, she reached out for help when her mother was dying, to be present in the time they had left. She felt the pain, but now also feels the joy of living life with a clear head.
I've been on both sides now, and I can say emphatically that life is much better, much more manageable, much easier now that I've learned other coping tools outside of grabbing the glass of wine.
Running has helped her heal, and while the pandemic stripped away the crowds at this race, it also revealed something more.
It's me that has to find the fortitude and resilience to keep going and to keep pushing, even when there is nobody on the streets kind of cheering you on. It's something to be proud of.
It's a sense of empowerment, she says, that doesn't end at the finish line. Joanna Rumeliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
As the oil industry falters in Alberta, a new industry is emerging. The rise in electric vehicles could mean more jobs in Alberta's struggling economy.
But first, as the third wave hits hard, a new plant opens to make N95 masks in Canada. We'll hear directly from 3M Canada's president on what difference it'll make. Canada's domestic PPE supply chain accelerated today. Last year, the government partnered with 3M to expand its Brockville, Ontario plant. It's now up and running and cranking out N95 respirators. 700,000 are shipping out this week alone, with tens of millions to come. Today, government officials marked the occasion in a joint announcement with Penny Wise. She is the head of 3M Canada. And Penny Wise joins us now to talk a bit more about what this facility can do. Hello to you, Ms. Wise.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So tell me, what is the main advantage of producing these masks domestically? Because the initial shortages aside, early in the pandemic, which we'd all concede was a major problem, we are a year into the pandemic now, right? And all levels of government, as I understand it, have established sources of PPE. So what's the main advantage?
The main advantage of N95s and domestic manufacturing is really protecting the safety of Canadians. There are the nurses and doctors who have been on the front lines and have been working with N95 respirators for the last year. Well, those nurses and doctors have been using a product, an N95 respirator, that is really supposed to be a single-use respirator and then disposed of, but they've been using them over and over again. They'll take them off at the end of their shift, they'll put them in a brown paper bag, and they'll leave them for a recommended period of time so that they can reuse it. By having an available N95 source, by having these N95s available in Canada, our nurses and doctors on the front lines can go back to using these respirators the way in which they are intended. So we are keeping them safe. A second area that is really important is we have seen a tremendous rise in counterfeit and fraudulent activity around N95 respirators. And this is a terrible situation. It's illegal. This is criminal that people are trying to sell product as N95 that isn't N95. We want the nurses and doctors in hospital focused on taking care of patients, helping people get better, not worrying about whether their N95 is offering them protection. So an N95 source in Canada means they have the ability to be definitely using genuine N95 3M product. And the third area that we really haven't talked a lot about is prior to the pandemic, the 3M N95 respirator was used extensively in industry and businesses across Canada. As we moved into the pandemic, the majority of those respirators were focused and channeled to our healthcare workers to ensure they were safe in the fight against the pandemic. As we move to reopen the economy and support the Canadian economy, we will have N95 respirators available for those customers once again, and we can supercharge and move forward.
All that being said, I'm sure there's going to be no shortage of people who are watching this interview right now and wondering, okay, but what's in it for me? So let me ask you, what, if anything, does this change for the average Canadian consumer, either for the availability of N95s that they would be buying or even the price of N95s?
This touches every Canadian because every single one of us knows somebody who needs to have an N95 respirator. We know somebody in a hospital, we know a doctor, we know a nurse, and we know their families, and we know that they need protection. So this N95 respirator and the availability in Canada will provide that kind of protection and that kind of comfort to those. We have Canadians who, when we talked about restarting the economy, Canadians will be affected by that. So it reaches and touches all of us in terms of what it means for us in terms of our health for the future, the care that we receive in the future, and the kickstart of the economy and the reopening of the economy that will come as we move forward.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Penny Wise, it's been very good to talk to you. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you.
A successful rescue operation of a few miners. Well, sort of.
It's right here.
How dog rescue organizers found a litter living in a deep, deep burrow and affectionately named the miners. But first, try not to flinch.
Take another look at this.
right in your living room. Ooh.
Okay, ouch. Cardinals' Tyler O'Neill pitched smashing the lens of the home plate camera at 145 kilometers per hour during St. Louis's 4-2 win in Miami last night. The damage, at least $35,000 US worth of gear.
Well, years of low prices and high costs have crippled Alberta's oil sector. But Aaron Collins shows us there is another energy resource that's been hiding in the province's oil fields this entire time, and entrepreneurs want to sell it.
There's long been treasure buried beneath the golden fields of central Alberta. This area home to the province's first major oil and gas strike. Now, Alberta's next energy revolution could be emerging here too. A boom potentially worth billions, driven by a spike in demand for lithium-ion batteries.
The large majority of demand by mass of lithium is coming from the electrical revolution in electric vehicles.
Turns out the salty water sucked out of these wells along with the oil also contains lithium. That wastewater now valuable, a perfect fit for entrepreneurs in a province used to pulling wealth from the ground.
Because we're just transitioning effectively an old oil field into a lithium production field, we end up using the same skill set that Alberta has already developed. So a lot of value also for the province and for putting people to work here.
A pilot project should be up and running here in a year. The trick will be proving it can make money. Lithium in Alberta isn't highly concentrated.
You can build a pilot plant with a process that is somewhat efficient and, not have the economics worked out, but nobody's going to pay to scale that up.
In this Calgary lab, a different strategy to tap into the rising value of lithium is being developed.
There's about 0.1% lithium in this bucket of salt water.
So when you look at this bucket, do you see a bucket of money?
It's a bucket of money. Yes.
But this water isn't from Alberta. It's from Chile, where lithium is abundant but mined inefficiently. This company wants to take its technology on the road, extracting lithium around the world.
We're essentially exporting knowledge from Canada to the rest of the world about how we look at a holistic approach of resource extraction.
So, in a sense, Alberta's lithium miners are trying to come full circle, turning back to the land that brought the province's wealth in the past to secure its financial future. Aaron Collins, CBC News, near Wimborne, Alberta.
Near Winnipeg, another kind of treasure has been found hiding underground, a litter of 10 puppies. Check this out.
It's right here.
Here it comes. Following up on a tip, members of the Manitoba Underdogs Rescue found the puppies huddled in the den where they'd been born, next to a garbage dump. Initially, the team thought there were just 4 puppies in the burrow, but
it kept going. Like, there just kept being more and more puppies. It went from thinking there was 4 to then there was 6 and then there was 7. So by the time we were done, we had pulled out 10 puppies.
Rescuers say the puppies, affectionately nicknamed the miners, are in good condition and already settling into their foster home.
Okay, and next on The National, an advertisement for an ambulance.
It was a Kijiji miracle.
How this pharmacist turned his thrifty find into a way to save lives. Our moment is next.
So you might have snagged a good find on Kijiji now and again, but one Nova Scotia pharmacist scored big with this, his very own ambulance. So he has become pretty creative, turning his thrifty find into a mobile vaccination clinic. And tonight, the story behind that is our moment.
We are administering COVID-19 vaccines. So we're actually in front of our pharmacy doing it in the parking lot. COVID vaccination clinic is now up and running. Last year during influenza season, we purchased an old ambulance. Kijiji miracle. We haggled for a little bit and here she is. If it wasn't for this particular mobile unit, we would only be able to do maybe 30 to 40 a day. Having this extra office, we've really been able to ramp up our service. The only day that I had off to drive down to the Valley of Nova Scotia to pick this up was on Thanksgiving Day. So I had to say, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to buy a used ambulance. It's gone way beyond what I expected. We've definitely seen a great response, and if we keep using it all the way through, it's definitely been worth its weight in gold.
So you heard him say there that normally in the pharmacy they could do maybe 30-ish a day. Yeah. With the ambulance, they're now doing upwards of 100 a day, which in a small community makes a huge difference. And he has big ambitions to take this show on the road. Yeah,
and apparently there was a pretty steep learning curve to make it all work, right? But now they make it work. You kind of go in for 5 minutes, you wait for 15 minutes, then they check you out, make sure you're all good, and then you're on your way.
There you go.
That's National for this April 7th. Have a great night.
Good night.